Welcome, children. Today, beginning with one of the most important and the largest unit of our syllabus, that is calculus. The topic from it is continuity and differentiability. This is the first topic in the unit calculus. Children, before moving on to differentiability and in detail, we need to first know what is meant by continuity of a function here. So first we will be discussing the continuous function using some simple examples by the means of graphs or through calculations. Okay. So let us first get a brief idea of what continuity is. It says a function is continuous at a point if we can draw the graph of the function around that point without lifting the pen from the plane of the paper. That means if the function has to be continuous, then when we plot for it, its graph should not break. Okay, and when we are doing the graph, it should be done in one go. We don't need to lift our hand and move to other position to draw a certain part of the graph. In case it is continuous, then we will be able to draw it without lifting our hand or without lifting the pen from the plane of the paper. These are some examples from where you can well understand about the continuity of a function. See here, function fx is defined in two ways. Firstly, it is defined as x if x is greater than equal to 0. So when x is 0, fx is x. When it is greater than 0, then also fx is x. So this comes out to be an identity function. Whatever x will be, same will be the value of fx or same will be the value of y. So you can see, if you can look at the pointer, if x is 0, fx is also 0. If x is 1, fx is 1. If x is 2, fx is 2, and so on. So you can see this is the graph for identity function. The only condition is x is not assuming negative values. Only for 0 and positive values of x. Now, if x is less than 0, the function is taken as x square. If we will see, it is part of the parabola. Okay, but I have to assign only negative values to x. So corresponding to each negative value of x, its square will be positive. You can see the curve is in the second quadrant. Here x is negative, but its square, that is fx or y, is positive. Now as the value of x will increase, fx will also increase. Now let us move from left to right and see, in order to draw this entire curve, do we need to lift our hand or not? So moving from the smaller values of x to the larger values. So we will move from the left of 0. So as the value of x increases, you can see x square is coming down, that is the value of y is decreasing, but we can draw it smoothly without lifting pen. The moment x becomes 0, y also becomes 0. Now as x increases, y also increases. So the entire graph can be done without lifting our hand. That means it is a continuous function. Now see another one which will help us in understanding discontinuity of a function. Now it says fx will be 1 for x is equal to 0 and lower values. Fx will be 2 for x greater than 0. That means whenever x is assuming values more than 0, fx will be equal to 2. At 0, fx will be 1 for smaller values of x also, less than 0 for smaller values than 0. If x assumes, fx is still 1. So let us take some values of x which are smaller than 0. That means you are assigning negative values to x. You can see on this particular line, x is negative throughout and y, that is fx, remains 1. So suppose x is minus 2 here, then also y is 1. If x is minus 1, then also y is 1. The moment x becomes 0, then also y is 1. But the moment x becomes greater than 0, y will be 2. So you can see on this line, this point is not included. Because this point is on the y-axis. The moment the line will touch the y-axis, that means x has become 0. But when x has become 0, y is 1. So this point on the y-axis is not included. You know how we represent endpoints of open interval? So that is what is being done here. Okay, so the point 2 is not included in this line. So you can easily see if we have to plot this graph, then we cannot do it in one go. After finishing with this part, we need to lift our hand, move to this place, and then draw for the second condition. So very well you can see the continuity is breaking. The continuity remains till x is 1. But the moment x becomes, the continuity remains till x is 0, that means y is 1. But the continuity breaks the moment x becomes greater than 0. It shifts. We need to lift our hand and move to the other position and draw the graph. So you can understand discontinuity very well from here. At 0, it is becoming discontinuous, okay? Because on the right of 0, that means when x is greater than 0, the value of fx changes. Okay, another example, children. See these two curves. These are examples of parabola. Two different parabolas are being drawn. And you can see various points are marked on it. Each is filled. None of them, see this point, it is filled with the same color with which line is being made. It is not empty. This shows that at this point function is defined. We are able to define it. We are including this point. It is not an open interval. So both the curves, if you see, you will find a similarity. They both are entirely continuous. There is no point where the curve is breaking. If I, take this example, here x is 0. If you look at the area which is on the left of 0, how the curve is behaving, it is coming down, but it is continuous. It is not breaking. Okay, so when x is 0, on its left, fx is also getting closer to 0. Check its right side. When we move towards 0 from the right on the x-axis, you will see fx is also approaching 0. It is approaching the same point. You look at this one, the left of 1 and the right of 1. When you are reaching 1 from the left or from the right, it is reaching the same value, which is y is equal to 1. So each point which is expressed in these two curves, you will see the continuity is not breaking. Okay. Now one more thing you can see here, every point which is marked here. See, in this case when x is 4, y is also coming 4. On the left of 4, also the curve is approaching 4. On the right of 4, also the curve is approaching 4. Same pattern you will see in both the cases. So the left hand limit at the point, the right hand limit, they both are coming out to be same. And whatever is the value of function at that point, that is also same. Okay, another example which helps us understand it better. See this one. Fx is x square plus 3 if x is less than 2. So for every x which is smaller than 2, 2 is not included, fx will be x square plus 3. In the same way, when x is equal to 2 or greater than that, but less than 3, function is defined as 2x plus 3. And for x greater than equal to 3, it is defined as 5 times cos of x minus 3. So you can see at the value 2 and for 3, the definition of the function about 2 and about 3 on its left and on its right, it is changing. So these can be the possible numbers where the function may or may not be continuous. What about other points then? You can see when x is smaller than 2, whatever value it has got, but less than 2, function is always x square plus 3. So you will not find any value of x where it is not defined. You will be able to define function and the curve can be smoothly drawn. It will be continuous. It is not going to break. Now look at the numbers between 2 and 3. I am not including 2 here. I am saying only the numbers between 2 and 3. For each fx is 2x plus 3. So it remains that only. It is again a polynomial function. So you will see it will come out to be a continuous function. Even for numbers greater than 3, it is defined in the same manner, so the function remains continuous. So we can easily see it is only 2 and 3 where there is a possibility for discontinuity. So we need to check. Now see the questions asked based on this. Firstly, they are saying at which numbers is the function f discontinuous. So we have to find the points of continuity. Then it is saying for each of the numbers given in part A, where f is discontinuous, state whether or not f is continuous from the left of that number or not. So see, once we come to know where it is discontinuous, we will see how it is behaving on the left of that number. Is it continuous or discontinuous? In the same way, third part says you check at that point on its right whether the function is continuous or discontinuous. So whatever is the point of discontinuity, we will check the behavior of curve on its left as well as on its right, whether it is continuous or not. So let us solve each of them one by one. Okay, function I am again using here, so you don't need to see. The entire function is not visible here, but we can attempt it. First question we will attempt, which says find the points where it is discontinuous. So you look at the function on the left of 2. That means when x is less than 2, you will find fx is defined as x square plus 3. And what is x approaching? X is approaching 2 from the left side. That means x is slightly smaller than 2. Because it is a polynomial function, so on putting x is equal to 2, it will not take indeterminate form. So we can directly substitute x is equal to 2 and try to make out to which number this fx is approaching when x is getting closer and closer to 2 from the left. Okay, some examples like are, suppose x is 1.9, it is on the left of 2. So I will get some value for this. You get more close to 2, take 1.99. You will get a value which is more close to 7 for x square plus 3. Take another example. Suppose x is 1.99. So we are getting close and close to 2. The more we are getting close to 2 from the left, you will see this is getting closer and closer to 7. So if I replace x by 2, it comes out to be 7. So we know when x is approaching 2 from the left, the function is approaching 7. Now on the right of 2, the function is defined as 2x plus 3. Now same approach you can apply here. Bring x closer and closer to 2 from the right side. Okay. And you will see this value will get closer and closer to 7. So you can see the limit is existing here. The left hand limit at 2 and the right hand limit have come out to be same. So from both the sides, when you are approaching 2, the function is getting closer to 7. That is the same value. Let us see, can we define the function at 2 at the point 2? When x is 2, exactly 2, then also fx is equal to 7. So you can see all these three things are equal. I'll show you one of the previous slide where this kind of condition is met. Look at these examples, these two curves, any point you pick up. As I told you about 0, if you see, when x is approaching 0 from the left or x is approaching 0 from the right, the function, both the side you curve, you see it is approaching this point only. And at 0 also it is this point. So all the three are coming out to be equal. So it is continuous. Every point will satisfy this. Look at this point. When x is minus 4, whether you are coming to x from the left, that means you are approaching minus 4 from the left, or you are approaching minus 4 from the right, or you are finding the function at minus 4. All three things are approaching this particular value only. At minus 4, it is 4 only. So the function is continuous. The continuity is not breaking. So you can see if these three conditions are fulfilled, they are equal to each other. That means the curve is continuous at that point. Now the other point which appeared maybe discontinuous or so, that is minus 3. So check the left hand limit at minus 3. When x is less than minus 3, it is coming 9. When x is greater than 3, slightly greater than 3, you replace x by 3 here. 3 minus 3 will be 0 and cos 0 is 1. Okay, so 5 into 1 comes out to be 5. See, the values are different. So one thing we have already come to know, the limit does not exist. From the left of 3, function is approaching 9 and from the right of 3, it is approaching 5. So they are moving on to different values. Okay, and at 3, if you see, at 3, the value of the function is again 5. So what do we see? These three are not equal. Two things are coming equal, value of the function at the point and right hand limit. But left hand limit is not equal. So we can say 3 is the point of discontinuity. Now point of discontinuity is obtained. This will help us in getting the conclusion for part B and part C also. So we will only check about the left of 3 and the right of 3. Question says for each of the numbers given in part A, that means 3 which we have obtained, where f is discontinuous, you have to tell whether or not f is continuous from the left of that number. Now see what is meant by this. I'll again take you back to one of the previous slides. See this one. If you look at this number, okay, on the x of on right of 0, when x is greater than 0, it is becoming 2. Y is becoming 2. But when x is 0, it is becoming 1. And when x is less than 0, it is becoming 1. So two things are same. On the left of 1, on the left of 0 and at 0, function is same. But on the right of 0, it is different. So the discontinuity has come into existence on the right of 0. So it is discontinuous on the right of 0. Because at 0, and at greater than 0, the value is not same. Okay. So this helps us in answering this second part. You can see on the left of 3, it is different. But at 3 and on the right of 3, it is same. So it is, discontinuity is not here. Discontinuity is because of the left-hand limit. So we can say the function is not continuous from the left of 3, because that is where the problem is. Okay. It is moving on to it is approaching some other value other than 5. Okay, then see the C part. Again in the C part, we will use this part of the calculation only. We have to check whether the function is continuous from the right or not. You will see on the right of 3 also value is 5 and at 3 also it is 5. So what can we say? It is continuous from the right of 3. So from the right of 3, the same value was coming, and at 3 also the same value is coming. So the continuity was not breaking from the right of 3. It broke on the left of 3. So the function is continuous from the right of 3. Now one quick example. Only through graph you can see we can answer to all these questions. See here, a function fx is plotted. We don't know what this function is, but it is plotted. Now first part talks about value of the function to which it is approaching when x is smaller than 1 on the left of 1. So you look at the curve on the left of 1. This is the left part of 1. Now as we get closer and closer to 1 from the left, you will see the curve is approaching 6. fx is approaching the value 6. Understood? So on the left of fx, how will we define the left-hand limit of fx? When x is approaching 1 from the left, fx is approaching 6. Okay. Then see next one. This is right-hand limit of 1. When x is approaching 1 from the right, to what number fx is approaching? So this is right side of 1. So get closer and closer to x, that is 1 from the right. You will see the curve is getting closer and closer to this number 9. So it means as x approaches 1 from the right, the function is getting closer to 9. Okay. Then third part, here it says what is fx when x is approaching 1. It is not mentioned from the left or from the right. So you have to tell limit x tending to 1 fx. Now that means we are checking whether the limit is existing or not. And we know limit exists if both the limits are coming out to be same. You can see fx is approaching 6 from the left of 1 and it is approaching 9 from the right of 1. So obviously the left hand limit is not equal to the right hand limit and the limit does not exist. This you can see from the curve also. See, on the left of 1 it is 6, on the right of 1 it is 9. So the limit does not exist. So we have written DNE does not exist. Okay, D, this is again limit x tending to 5 fx. So again I have to check whether at 5 limit exists or not. If it is existing, what is its value? So on the graph you have to see the left hand limit at 5 and the right hand limit at 5. See here, this is x on the left of 5. As we get closer and closer to 5 from the left, you can see the curve is getting close to 12. In the same way from the right, when you approach 5, okay, you will see again fx is approaching 12. So left hand limit is also 12, right hand limit is also 12. From both the sides, when x is approaching 5, fx is approaching 12. So we can say that means left hand limit is equal to right hand limit. So limit x tending to 5 fx can be termed as 12. Okay. Then see the last part, f at 5, the function at 5. So when x is exactly 5, what is fx? Look at this mark. This shows what? At x is equal to 5, the function cannot be defined, it means, because this point is not included. Okay, we are not able to define what is fx when x is 5. We have not filled this circle if you see. That means we are not able to define it. So we can say that this limit, this does not exist. After going through these many examples, we are now ready to define continuity. So we'll define continuity at a point and continuity in an interval. Continuity at a point, let us take first. Suppose f is a real function on a subset of real numbers and let c be a point in the domain of f. Then f is continuous at c if limit x tending to c fx is equal to fc. This means the limit at c should exist. Okay, so we can bifurcate it into two parts. We can write it as left hand limit as x approaches c from the left fx should be equal to limit x tending to c from the right fx, and that should be equal to the value of function at c. Then we can say that the function is continuous if all these three are equal. Fine. Now coming to continuity in an interval, suppose f is a function defined on a closed interval ab. Then for f to be continuous, it needs to be continuous at every point in AB. So at every point between A and B, it has to be continuous, including the endpoints A and B. So not only at the in between A and B, whatever numbers are lying, but also at A and also at B, the function has to be continuous. Okay. Now, when we say continuity at A, because if you look at this definition, continuity at a point, the limit should exist. Left hand limit and right hand limit should be equal. But when you look at this point, the interval begins with the point A. So we cannot find left hand limit of A. In the same way, the highest value here is B, the upper limit. So we cannot find the right hand limit at B. So if we say continuity at point A, then that means the value of function at A and the right hand limit at A. See, on the right of A, we can find the limit. Fine. So as x approaches A from the right fx should be equal to fa. In the same way, when we say continuity of function b f at B, then it will mean the value of the function at B should be same as limit x tending to B from the left side. As far as numbers in between are concerned, we can find the left hand limit and the right hand limit at those points and the value of the function at that point. So only at the end points, this restriction is there. Okay, so this is how continuity at a point and in an interval can be defined.